We're going to talk about leads within Salesforce. So I've launched the Sales app. I'm on the Leads tab. So lead management is very easy within Salesforce. Lead management, again, is you're trying to gather information about potential customers, track all that information as a lead, and with the goal of converting them to an account and a contact to sell an opportunity to them. It's very important that you work these leads and have a process to try and move them from a lead into an account and a contact that helps build your sales pipeline. So we're going to walk through a little bit of how this works within Salesforce. And again, you want to definitely make sure that you have a process, because not everybody you talk to is really a lead. Let's say that you're out at a trade show or like a state fair and you're giving away an iPad, and so you've got a little fishbowl there for everybody to put their business card into. Just because they put their business card into that fishbowl, they're not the person who could actually make the decision to become a customer of yours. So you need to make sure that you have the actual qualified decision maker or somebody who has the buying power within a company. Those are the people that you actually want in Salesforce. But just because they're not really what you would consider a qualified lead, you still want to go ahead and put their information in the system and contact them, because then they would be able to tell you who at their company could make that decision and could potentially introduce you to them and get that process started. So again, there's a couple ways that you can capture leads within Salesforce. You can have a website link where somebody could come to your website and fill it out, and it would, once they submit it, it drops that information into the screen in the lead. It's going to auto assign it to a queue or to an individual so that somebody can then work that lead. You can also, if you have a spreadsheet with a list of a whole bunch of leads, you can import that in, and we'll do some of that in another video. Or you can manually enter a lead just by coming here and saying new. So you just start typing in their information. And again, the company is required. If they're an individual, you could go ahead and either type individual or you could type the individual's name again. One thing to note is if you type individual for every person who's an individual, it's going to look like you have a company called individual that could have 50 or 100, thousands of employees that work there, and it's not really a company. So that's something, again, you might want to watch the person accounts videos and do your research to decide how you want to handle this. Again, you fill out as much information as you have through the lead source. These are the ones that have been made available to your organization. These can be customized, and we'll have another video that walks through how you can add or remove options here. So we're going to say that they came in another way. Same with industry, if you wanted to track what industry this person works in. Definitely have to have a lead status. So new, not contacted means they're brand new. We're just putting them in and nobody's ever talked to them. If they had called in and you were talking to them on the phone, you might want to go ahead and say nurturing contacted or working contacted, that you've actually talked to them. Again, the more information you have that you can put in, the better. And again, in another video, we'll talk about adding or removing some of these fields in case you don't need, say you don't care about the current generator. Why have it on the screen? We could take it away. Or the product interest. Those aren't the products that your company sells, so we'll talk about how you can customize that. I can hit save and new, and it'll allow me to go ahead and put in another lead, or I can just click save. Once I click save, it's going to open that lead that I was working on. I would have activity where I could email them or create a new event. If I go to details and I click a pencil, I can edit any of that information. Chatter, I can send a post out there, do a poll, or ask a question. And that's going to be with individuals within Salesforce, or if your company has allowed your customers or clients or external people access to Chatter, then you could actually chat back and forth with your clients, and it would keep all that information here within Salesforce. The News tab is if they find out, say you're tracking their Twitter, their LinkedIn, anything about that particular company, it's going to go out and automatically pull in the latest information about that company and show you here. So that when you're calling and talking to them, maybe it's a way to just start a conversation saying, hey, I recently saw in the news that you got this award, or, you have a new product, or, whatever. Just something about that particular company to keep you up to date about their particular company. Salesforce, again, is going to try and make sure that your data is clean and that you're not duplicating. So it's going to go out and look based on email, phone numbers, addresses, names. It doesn't think that there's another person out there that matches that, so it says no potential duplicates. If it found potential duplicates, then we would be able to look at it and potentially merge them if they were actually duplicates. We'll also have a separate video talking about campaigns where you can run marketing campaigns and include this particular person in that campaign to see if that campaign maybe helps convert them to an actual customer. I can follow this lead, so anytime if there's a chat or something's edited on this or anything in the news pops up, it's going to send me a message to alert me. Once they're ready to become an actual customer, you can convert them. So if you click convert, it's going to ask, okay, we're creating a new account, or if there's already an existing account, say that Molly works for Bikers Inc., but we already had another contact at Bikers Inc., we could choose an existing account. Same with we're creating a contact. It's automatically going to create a new opportunity because it thinks, okay, we're converting them. They've said, okay, we're about ready to buy. You can go ahead and convert them to an account and a contact and not an opportunity by checking this box saying don't create an opportunity. Since I'm the one that's creating this or doing the conversion, it's going to automatically assign me as a record owner. I could delete my name and assign it to somebody else. And it will automatically change the converted status to closed converted because we will no longer want them as a lead. They're now actually an account, a contact, and a potential opportunity for us. So once I click convert, it's going to go ahead and convert them. I didn't actually convert it. We canceled out. And so I'm going to move through the rest of these buttons. So I could click edit. It's going to pop up that box and allow me to add or remove any information. I could create a new note really quickly for this client. I could delete them altogether. Again, I could change the owner, say somebody's leaving the company, or I'm just overwhelmed and I don't have time to contact all my leads. We got a new employee in, so I could change that over to them and have them contact this. We have record types set up. There's going to be another video that walks through setting up record types, but you could change the record type. You could clone this. So let's say that we've got another lead for somebody else that works at Bikers Inc. and we had typed out the address information and we didn't want to have to retype it. We could clone it and just change Molly's name to that other person's name. We can also share this with somebody else, either an individual user to a channel. So all kinds of ways to share it. And again, you can say that if they have read-only access, they can only read that record, or they can read-write so they can edit it. If we had shared it, then we would be able to see under sharing hierarchy who all has this lead been shared with and what can they do. We also have this check for new data. So this is going to look at the data status and see if there's a data service that your company is using and see if it can be matched to an account, a contact, or a lead. And you can manually run this or it'll run automatically in the background just to see, what other data, again, it's matching, looking, maybe there's a duplicate for a contact or a lead or an account. And then printable view makes it so that I can actually print this information out for this lead. So again, a quick recap. We're capturing leads as potential clients. I can always go back to leads. Again, I've got my recently viewed. I can say all open. Anybody that's unread, open referrals. Ones from today. if I click this little pin, it's going to pin it. So let me close that. When I click leads, by default, recently viewed is what I'm looking at. If I'm always having to click the down arrow and drop to something else, and I'm like, this is the view that I always want, I can pin that. And so now when I get out of leads and when I come back, it's automatically going to remember that as my default. And this is what they call a list view. So I can click this little gear and I could create my own list view. Is this available just for me? Can anybody see it, or I want to share it with a certain group of people? I'm just going to say this is for me only. So I'll go ahead and save that because I don't want anybody else. They don't have to see my leads. So I can filter it over here and say, okay, I want to only see my leads. There's other ways that you can filter it. I could also add a filter to say, okay, I want to see ones that are, if they're over $50,000, I want to make sure I'm working those accounts. So we're over $1 million. Again, they have all these fields. If I'm getting ready to go to a conference in a certain city, I could filter by city and say, all right, show me everybody there, because I'm going to call them and say, hey, stop by and see me while I'm here. Or maybe we can grab a drink. So again, there's all kinds of ways that you can filter. And once you add more than one filter, we'll go ahead and say, all right, their priority is either emergent, routine, urgent. I can select more than one and say done. And I can add filter logic. So do I want it to be, let me go ahead and add another, let's say they're 7 days old. Is this going to be priority of routine and urgent and 7 days, or routine and urgent or 7 days? So that's what my filter logic is. And I don't have any that meets that criteria. And I might not have any that have a priority defined either. So again, you can just keep playing around with all of these fields to figure out how you want to create your list view. You can also, we're viewing it in a table, we can change it to Kanban view, which again, I don't have any leads, so let me go to all open leads. And now let's go to Kanban view. So this is a different way that I can see everybody that's close converted. I can manually move them from one status to another. And it just gives me counts at the top of how many are within that. I can also hit the drop down and edit it, delete it, or change the owner from here. I can also do a split view. So now when I click on Betty, then I see Betty's information over here. Then I could go to Brenda, and I would see Brenda's information over here. I can refresh. Inline editing means that I can actually just click, rather than clicking there and having it pop up, I could just click in the box and start editing right from there. I could also show a chart based on this information. So I have 15, 5 that have purchased a list, 4 that came from the web, 3 that were referrals. So it just gives me different ways that I can view. I can also, again, create a filter to make this list even smaller if it was way too big and I needed something else to work. I also have the ability, I click the pencil icon clear on the right at the top. If I don't need all of these things, I can rearrange them in different order. So I'm not having to, always click over here, I could make sure that everything I'm working with is listed on the left-hand side. I would just drag them around. So it makes sense to me. So they're a lead. They get converted from a lead into a contact, which also creates an account and an opportunity. And that way they're all kind of grouped right there together. So when I save that, notice now I've got my leads, contacts, accounts, opportunities all right here. So that's just a quick overview of Salesforce Leads.